We continue on Big Ten Media Days. Great to have you with us back in Indy. Dave Revson, Howard Griffith, Jake Butt, and the coach of the Hoosiers, Curt Cignetti. Coach, we heard you talking there to the media and talking about your expectations for this program. So let's get right into it. And I think one of the things that you've made clear as you've talked about your time as a head coach is that each place you've gone, you have improved it in year one. IUP, you did it. Elon, you did it. JMU, you did it. So what are your expectations? What's the blueprint for improving this program in year one at Indiana?
I mean, really pretty simple. Improve as much as possible every single day. It's a process. We're very much process-oriented. I've approached this job a little different than the other ones with some of my public comments for reasons. But, you know, be where your feet are, control the controllables, you know, every minute, every hour, every rep, one play at a time. High standards, expectations, accountability throughout. We got a certain way we want to play. And, you know, improve as much as possible on a daily basis.
When you say you've approached it differently for certain reasons, what are the reasons that you've chosen to approach it differently?
Well, you know, in just 3 seasons ago, Indiana's touchdown away from winning the Big Ten, right?
Right.
But, you know, 3 seasons ago seems like 3 decades ago in this society, right? To give it to me now society. So there was a general atmosphere out there that IU was not only a tough job, but like an impossible job, right? You hear that a little bit. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I wanted to see if the fan base was, you know, dead or just on life support. So there's 17,000 people in a basketball game. They bring you out there, and my job is, you know, to get them going. So, you know, the Purdue comment was pretty easy, right? But why stop there? You know, it's an expectation level and a mindset.
Right.
So, you know, hey, when you get to be my age, you sort of lose your filter a little bit anyhow, right? And, I mean, it is what it is, so whatever.
How do you see those things show up in the off-season workouts as far as your team and building that chemistry with them, and also having those guys have that confidence that they can go out and turn this thing around like that?
Yeah, well, you know, one of the things I'm fortunate is I've had great staff continuity. So the guys that are in positions of leadership, defensive coordinator Bryant Haynes, 10 years. Not always a coordinator. Mm-hmm. Mike Shanahan, offensive coordinator, 9 years. Same story, not always a coordinator. Strength and conditioning coordinator Derek Owens spends more time with than any of them, going on 5 or 6 with me. They know the blueprint, they know the standard, the expectation level, the accountability, how we do things, and I trust them, which makes the transition process smoother. Mm-hmm. December was turbulent. 10 guys in the portal the day I step on campus. I didn't know that when I took the job. They didn't tell me, but I wouldn't have told me either. But, you know, we brought 22 new guys in at the end of December, all conference, 2 3-year starters, production numbers, high character. We flipped the roster in 3 weeks. The January part, spring ball and all that, that was smoother. New offense, new defense. How do you practice? What are your expectations, standards? By practice 5, it felt like a practice. We got better, but we're not where we need to be. But nobody is right now. Yeah. Everybody's got new guys, and there's a reason you practice in August, right? So what I do in my messaging to the team is I try to say it in as few words as possible so that each word means something. Because once you lose them, it's hard to get them back, right? Now, by the same token, I'm a short practice guy. I've never gone 15 spring practices, never gone 25 fall, right? Like, the NCAA is going to tell me the magic number for fall practice? No. So I want them we got to stay injury-free everywhere I've ever been, right? And feeling as good as possible on Saturday so they can play their best. And how many reps do you need?
I mean, Coach, just hearing you talk, and especially when you get going, you just exude that competitive fire and passion. It gets me fired up a bit, too, and I'm just curious.
He doesn't have any eligibility left.
I have no – I would love to play for you, though. But I'm curious, you know, when this started, how did you become who you are as a head coach?
I was probably always competitive, and then by, you know, year 3 or 4, you're kind of like, okay, I got it. You've cleaned up your mistakes. But, you know, I'm all about winning. And winning's not a bad word. We graduate players. Mm-hmm. We develop them as people and students. We do community service. But everything we do is about winning. And everybody's on the same page, coaches and players.
You talk about that continuity of the coaching staff, but how about the players that you were able to bring in? How does that help the development of the program as well?
That really accelerated what we were trying to get done from a culture standpoint, because that was a championship football program, and those were amongst the 10 best players returning on that football team. And that was not the plan when I took the job, but that sort of happened. That's the portal nowadays. And if I wouldn't recruit him, somebody else would have. They had other offers. That helped a lot because they led through their actions.
Looking at your two quarterbacks, Coach, Curtis Rourke coming in from Ohio University, and you got Taven Jackson, who started a few games last year, just kind of getting a chance to go through spring, go through the summer. What are some of those areas you feel your system is going to allow them to grow and realize their full potential?
Well, you know, our last 4 quarterbacks have all been player of the year in the league, and they were all different. We've had the drop back guy, the dual threat guy, and somewhere in between with the other 2. And they all had their skeptics, and they were all 1-year guys for me. Okay, I thought Rourke was the best available, played a lot of football, won a lot of games, led a lot of 2-minute drives for touchdowns, threw a lot of touchdown passes, protected the ball, player of the year in the league in 22, got injured, couldn't really train for 23, still had a decent year. He's in great shape now. He had tremendous spring, had a great summer. He knows how to play quarterback, and he can get you back to 2nd and 10 when he's in a bad spot. So, you know, first 4 days back, you're looking at all your spring cut-ups. I'm watching him close, you know, and I'm very impressed with what he's done. Feel good about him. Taven's improved and still has areas he's got to improve.
One thing that I think is really interesting is we've seen this trend recently in college football of coaches having a lot of success coming from lower levels. Kalen DeBoer is an obvious one. Lance Leipold, Willie Fritz. You're in a similar situation, right? You're someone who has won at lower levels. What do you learn at those lower levels when you're winning, and winning as consistently as you have, that you believe can translate to a league like the Big Ten?
Yeah, I don't know exactly, to be quite honest with you. I think you become a little humbled. I mean, I used to clean the staff table Thanksgiving week, first week of the playoffs, because nobody else was working, you know, before the staff meeting, take the garbage out. And then you work your way up, and football is football, right? Football's football. You know, it takes what it takes. But what you do is you get years under your belt, years of success, and out of that comes confidence and belief, which in this game is a good thing. Look, the margin of error in football, the greatest game in the world, by the way, is about like that, okay? And look across the country, how many of these games are decided by 1 score? You got to win those 1-score games. And that's the edge all of us coaches are looking for, but that's what we've been really good at places I've been.
Yeah. I think everyone wants to have the very best facilities out there. And when you go into the transfer portal, there are coaches that have said, you know what, I'm going to go to lower levels and bring guys up, because then they can understand where the opportunity that they have as far as facilities are concerned. Have you noticed any change like that from your players, just being more appreciative of what they have an opportunity to experience now?
Yeah, I think the transfers, and a lot of them are 1-year guys, let's face it. You get a 2-year guy, you're ecstatic.
Yeah.
They're just looking for the opportunity because they want to go to the league, right? And they're looking to play on a bigger stage. Production's important to me. I think there's an intangible factor there about a guy that's been a starter, stayed on the field for 12 games, 3 years in a row, and produced for 3 years in a row, right? A stick-to-itiveness, a persistence, kind of guy you got to have. So those are the kind of guys we've recruited.
When you talk about the 1-score games, the close games, and I remember even from my time playing against Indiana, we were in some tight battles, double overtime games. Like, looking at this roster, what is the difference? You know, what's going to be the difference maker for your roster, your staff, to win some of those close battles?
Well, you get what you demand. And there's certain things we preach and believe in that leads to success, we believe, in those close games. And it's the old 1 play at a time, right? We all preach it, 6 seconds of play. Every play's got a life and a history of its own, fast, physical, relentless, smart, disciplined, poised. But the whole purpose of that is you're creating that habit the first practice. So you get in those games at the end, you're not looking at the scoreboard, you're just doing your thing. Let that other guy be affected by the circumstances of the game.
Curt Cignetti, new head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. Coach, appreciate it. Pleasure to get to know you, and we'll look forward to seeing you in camp.
Great to be here.